Great follow through so far on Bitcoin. We've seen Bitcoin top out at $82,000 now, very, very nearly, which is absolutely fantastic. And so we're just generally seeing a trend here of, quite shallow pullbacks. And I think a big part of that is quite simply because we don't really know where pullbacks can happen, right? I mean, there aren't super clearly defined zones of support on this chart. And so really, eventually, yes, we're going to keep trending up probably, and we're going to keep on pulling back probably, but the levels that we can kind of pull back on are very touch and go, right? It's incredibly hard to say where they might be, and I think that this market has very clearly been showing that to us lately. But we have been able to make a little bit of sense of this. Shout out to those of you that were subscribed and hitting up the like button on our live stream, watching that live stream earlier today. We've actually done 2 live streams in the last 24 hours, which is absolutely fantastic. So those of you subscribed are getting a lot. Make sure you show the algorithm a little love if you want to get this time-sensitive content. We were talking about how Bitcoin might find a little bit of support in this particular range right here, stretching all the way down to the green line, with deviations also possible, because that's exactly what Bitcoin's been doing so far, and that's kind of the best that we have to go off. And that's to say it's not very, very good, right? I mean, if this market does start to drop now, it's just still very, very hard to say where it might find support. There's a little bit of sideways trading that we established here at 76, which is fantastic, and then there's not very much over here. So it's going to be very interesting to see where Bitcoin can go, but one of the things that I found even more interesting than this is the S&P 500 after hours trading session. And obviously this is not, official in any way, but it is sitting at above 6,000 right now on the S&P 500, which means that, we could be looking at a bullish Monday open tomorrow. And that's the point of this video. It's the reason that this is such a big deal, is that if we do wake up to a bullish S&P 500 open on Monday, then that's going to mean a few things. First of all, that's going to mean a very, very bullish week, a very bullish Friday, a very bullish open to the new week. And I think it could really give this market the confidence that it needs to just absolutely send as well. I don't exactly know, and it's a lot of speculation, and there's a lot that's going into this. But I'll tell you what, the tides are already starting to shift. We've seen Bitcoin significantly pick up dominance here, which I think is a very, very big deal. And we've, of course, accordingly seen weakness in the altcoin market here, where everything is a sea of red right now, retracing their major moves up, because all of them have moved up. They're just retracing right now, other than TRX. I don't know how the hell TRX does it. It's so damn impressive, and it's so strange, but TRX just continues to hold its own and not really even drop with the rest of the market. So I don't know how it does it, but when something is exceptionally strong, I'm not going to knock it. I'm still going to really, really appreciate it. And one of the other big reasons, of course, that I do appreciate TRX right here is going to be because I've stayed in my position on TRX for quite some time. I'm just pulling that up for you guys here because this is super, super impressive. Take a look at this right here on my Bybit account. You guys who are interested in trading these markets, you're going to get a ton of free cash when you start trading using these links down below. And this Bybit account right here, I have been able to run it up very, very nicely. Take a look at that TRX position right there, sitting at 1,114% profit, and Bitcoin at 2,733% profit. Again, the biggest percentage gains I've ever made in my life, which is super, super cool. And if you want to get access to free cash to trade these markets, then all you got to do is start trading here. Not if you're in a restricted region. These exchanges won't be available to you, but super cool stuff there. The laws are the problem, not the exchanges. But $80,000 is where Bitcoin is sitting at right now, and I think that at the moment we're just kind of in a phase of figuring out what's going on. And while we're trying to figure that out, we're also actually seeing a lot of vertical accumulation, and this is something which I really, really like with Bitcoin. It's something that Bitcoin has done quite often. We can see this the more we kind of zoom out here, which is that Bitcoin has essentially been trending higher, with pretty clear profiled moves upwards, but then it just kind of consolidates upwards. It just kind of keeps moving higher in its consolidation phase because it just cannot contain the excitement. And that looks like exactly what Bitcoin's doing right now, basically having big moves upward, punctuated with more moves upward that are a bit slower, and obviously that would kind of lead you to potentially expect something a little bit like this again, putting us perhaps in the mid $80,000 range. Everybody and their grandmother wants to know price targets, but the reality is that it's very, very hard to pick out price targets because we've never been up here. Psychological round numbers are the best thing that we've got, other than some tools like Fibonacci extensions, which I don't use. And so that is kind of the best I can say. But do you know what? It doesn't even matter, because that's not where you're going to make make the money, right? I mean, if I don't know about you, but if you plan on selling at 85K, then, go ahead. You'll probably be the only motherfucker doing that. So for me, what I'm actually more interested in these markets is going to be where I can make even more money, right? Where I can make even more Bitcoin. If I'm sitting on one Bitcoin today and it's at $81,000, okay, that's cool. 85,000, whatever. I don't care, right? It's only an extra 4K. Like, what is that to me? But if I got to 80K, I don't care about another 4. But if there are ways for me to make more Bitcoin, right? Maybe I can have 2 Bitcoins instead of just 1. Now all of a sudden I'm looking at $170,000 as opposed to just 81, right? And so very, very extreme example. But the point there is that, these high price target, circle jerk experiences that everyone's trying to get involved in right now, to me are not productive. They're not going to make you any more money. If Bitcoin's going to 85, it's going to go to 85 whether you speculate on it or not. But what's going to be different is if you actually try and build up some more BTC. And I think that's where, for me, I mean, this is going to be very different for different people. A lot of people, if they try, would just fail horribly. But for me, I'm very interested in kind of accumulating more Bitcoin actually by being active in these markets here. And I think that, altcoins could be an interesting way to do that. I think, obviously just trading Bitcoin itself is going to be one of the best ways to do that as usual. And so that's going to be something which I'm kind of keeping my eyes locked on. And that's why I keep on stressing, these kind of zones that could be relevant later on in the market at lower price levels, because that's kind of the only thing that we have, right? If we want opportunities where we can kind of make money, forgive all the backspacing, but if you want opportunities where you can kind of make money in these markets, then, it's really just going to come from buying dips. And I think that that's what's looking really, really interesting here. And that's why one of the big things that I keep on doing, we don't know if we're going to get it, but if we do, it would be beautiful. One of the big things that I keep on kind of looking at is just the distance from our all-time high as we set new all-time highs down to our support levels, right? And down to our very first real support level, which is our previous all-time high at 74K. That's going to be a nice clean 10% drop. But down to our real support, this is 71K. This is where Bitcoin had repeatedly topped out throughout the course of 2024. This would be a 13% drop to get down here, which is pretty good. I'm actually, I'm okay with that. But to get down to the support level that I really like, that's going to be more like a 17-18% drop now. And so we're starting to get into territory which I am a little bit more interested in. You see, the good thing about this market is that we're looking really, really strong. But one thing that we need to really understand is that within strong markets, and we've been in a strong market for a long time, we do get 30% corrections like this, which in this case, this one happened in like 6-7 days. And and obviously this whole market cycle since $15,000, including right up to now, has been very, very strong. I know that a lot of people were losing their minds in this range, but that was very much a choice, and you would have known that that's a choice if you were watching this YouTube channel. So smash up the likes for that if you do appreciate that, because there was none of that psychosis going on over here, ladies and gents. We're just not about it. We don't do that stuff here. If the market's not moving, we're not going to lose our fucking minds over it. We're just going to stay sober and understand what's going on and stay prepared for when the market moves again. Smash up the likes for that, ladies and gents, if that vibes with you a little bit, if that lands with you. And so, given that the market has been very strong, it's clearly demonstrated to us that, nice pullbacks, 20%, 30% are totally possible. Sometimes, they're going to be a little bit smaller. Well, this one wasn't necessarily smaller. Let's see if this one's, kind of mid-teens. Sometimes you get a much shallower, like kind of 10% like this one. But most of the time, we're expecting kind of something between kind of 10 to 30%. And that's what makes this really interesting now, because now there's like a little bit of room to drop down. Previously, if Bitcoin kind of got up to, let's say, 76K and then it started coming back down, it would be like, come on, it would be a bit of a scam all-time high. It would be very upsetting. And also, it would be hard to argue that Bitcoin's getting back up, because it would almost look like, we had our chance to break out and then we didn't take it. And so, like, how strong are we really? Especially given all of the fake out all-time highs that Bitcoin has set over the last, the one that we set this year, and then the many, like 5 or 6 that we did in 2021, right? So I think that's a really important thing to be considering here in this market, where now we do actually have a lot of headroom above our all-time high. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but enough to where we can start expecting, that support levels are going to be respected now, right? Like now, I think that if Bitcoin does manage to get itself all the way back down to some of these support levels, I actually think that now it's going to have a pretty easy time actually picking itself back up and then continuing to move back on, because it's proven itself to be, bullish enough to get up to 82K. And I also also just, I mean, who the hell's going to sell? Like, I don't necessarily even think we're going to come down that low. I just think that, we could see very ferocious buying stepping in. But, who knows? I mean, narratives can shift very quickly in these markets, and, sentiment can shift very quickly. I think one thing that people really don't understand is that these news websites that you read of, and, what's the reason for this? Like, when you go looking for that reason, whoever published it or whoever is talking about it, they had 10, 15, 100, 2,000 reasons for, reasons to be bullish, reasons to be bearish on Bitcoin, locked and loaded, ladies and gents. They had them locked and loaded, ready to go. And then all that happens, I'm telling you how it works right now, laying it all out for you right here on YouTube. All that happens, ladies and gents, is that one fat-fingered seller comes in. They push the big old red button with a market order. They send this market careening downwards. And most importantly, they start getting some of them long positions stopped out, yeah? Because we got a little bit of leverage in this market, and we're forgetting about that right now. But I'm here to remind you, there's a little bit of leverage in this market, so we get some of them longs washed out. And then what happens is, obviously, in order to close a long position, you need to trade the opposite side, right? Like, put it this way: let's just take a Porsche key. If I own a Porsche key, if I have an active position with one Porsche key, then the only way to close that position is by selling it. And by selling it, naturally the price of the Porsche will go down because I'm pushing down on the market. So that's how. Maybe that didn't make sense, but I've explained this many times. So hopefully you get it. If you didn't, let me know, and I'll maybe make a dedicated video on it. But that's what ends up happening, right? And that's kind of where markets start to really dip down. So, it's not necessarily, a lot of people, they visualize these markets in, from the perspective of, especially because they're smart, but clearly not that smart. They will assume that, they're a smart investor. They bought low, they're going to sell high, whatever. And they do it very calmly, right? This is probably you. And you do it very, very calmly. You buy at a good price, and then you sell at a good price, and then khalas, like you move on with your day. You pick your daughter up from school, whatever the deal is. And I think that that's, really important, because a lot of people who are in that position, they think that everybody's like that. And it's not true. Actually, a lot of some volume gets sold off like that, and it wouldn't really trigger a reversal necessarily. But a lot of the time, what actually triggers reversals is the scenario that I described to you, where it's not even, necessarily anybody that's looking to take profits. It's almost more, just market makers doing their thing, the whales doing their thing, whoever you want to blame it on, it doesn't matter. And then that's going to trigger a little bit of panic, and then that's going to trigger a long squeeze, and then that's going to trigger more panic, and that's when you get, the less smart people, the shrimps and so on. That's when you get them kind of panic selling their bags and stuff as well. And obviously, that's exactly what happened, to take Bitcoin down here to 49K. It was nothing other than exactly what I just described, and that's my point, is that can trigger at any point. But now we've got some really nice headroom here, so it's making me very bullish, to say the least. Kind of tying this back to the title of the video that you're watching today, it's making me very bullish, seeing that Bitcoin is successfully getting above. We do have quite a long time left on this daily candle. The previous daily candle, looks okay. If this daily candle, it looks very good actually. If this daily candle that we're in today can't, kind of pick up some real strength, then, it is going to start looking a little bit like it's losing some strength. But, we already did that before, and it wasn't actually a problem. So that's the first thing that I'd actually like to bring your attention to. But the second thing is the weekly close, because we now have that weekly close. Obviously, it's Monday now, and Bitcoin is, just looking great. Bitcoin is looking really, really good. It's substantially higher than all of its all-time highs from 2021. If we measure it from the highest high in 2021, it's up by 17%, and from the lowest all-time high, the major one, it's up by 40%. Okay, so that's a really, really big deal. That's a big number. So I think that looks absolutely great. But then, if we just look at it on, a shorter term kind of perspective, let's just choose a chart where, I don't really have any joins. Let's go ahead and delete everything on this chart, because we don't need this stuff anymore. Look at this. That is just such a bullish candle. You're really, really getting a lot of price action happening just in 1 week here. That's an $11,800 candle. When's the last time we had a candle of, that kind of comparable size? It was right here. It was comparable, but it's still not bigger. So it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to find an $11,000 candle. Bitcoin probably only would have done that in the last market cycle. One $11,000 move in a. Look at this. This was 6K. You can't find one. Fucking hell. Is this one of Bitcoin's biggest weekly candles? in terms of dollar moves, not in terms of percent, probably not in terms of percent, but what is this in terms of percent? That's a 16%, you know, week. So obviously this would have been, this was a 22%. Oh yeah, this is comparable. Yeah, so my bad. You know, but yeah, I mean, incredibly rare, as you can see. And you can see the follow through here. I mean, you know, from the close of this weekly candle, Bitcoin managed to rally by a further 16%. And, you know, if we were to see something similar to that right now, you know, that puts Bitcoin at 94K. It's actually kind of crazy, right? Like we can go up by like another, you know, if we go up by another 20% right now, like 20% is 20%, but no, that's $96,000. That's actually a really big number. So, yeah, we're here, ladies and gents, we're here. And the name of the game, like I've been saying every single time I come on stream or I come on video, the name of the game is we set a high, you put that little beautiful curved line on top of it, that's your hat, and if you get above that high, bam, you're back off, and you're potentially going to be setting brand new all-time highs. Well, you will be setting brand new all-time highs, because to get here, it would be an all-time high. So that is absolutely fantastic. So there's a lot more going on. There's so many opportunities in the altcoin market. That series of videos is coming out in like, I don't know, 12 hours or 16 hours or something like that. Everything's recorded. For one of the videos, oh my god, it was so annoying. I stopped recording. This is why it took longer. For one of the videos, I got almost to the end, and it was such a good video. It was such a good video. And I realized that I didn't hit record. Those of you that are in media, you've definitely been there before, so you know my pain. It is the worst feeling ever. Even if you're not in media, you'll probably understand my pain, because you've probably done something similar before. I don't know, you're working on a Word document and your fucking laptop ran out of battery. Oh my god. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. We've all been there. So it took a little bit longer, but make sure that you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on that beautiful content. And obviously, if you want to get access to the free money available with these exchanges, it's just super cool. You can throw it back into the market and withdraw any profits that you make with it. You can check them out. All you got to do is start trading using these links, and then they're going to give you that free money, which is super, super cool. And obviously, only available to those of you who are not in restricted regions. If your country has banned them, then you're not going to be allowed to use them. But there you go, ladies and gents. Hope you've enjoyed this very, very quick Bitcoin update. And I will see you all in the next video live stream. It depends how exciting Bitcoin is. Take it easy. Cheers.